opping on defense on either map, and I think this is his chance to really take over with that weapon.
You can already see G2 up on stage sweating, seeing the double duelist on the other side, getting flashbacks to the T1 nonsense they had to deal with. But I think on the two maps they've played most recently, when they played Pearl, it was against T1, it was MIBR, it was both losses. But in both of them, I feel like so many times in late round situations, they caught bad breaks that went the other way. I need to see a G2 that's looking a lot stronger in those late round situations.
C9 will fight for control of A main and succeed in taking that space.
I'm interested by Oxy's position over in street. He was playing up a little bit more aggro towards double doors before getting called off that line just a little bit. So right now there's not a lot of assistance for C9 to stall out against this hit, just the Astra Star and the one player rotating in with Oxy.
Vic spots out at least 2 or 3 players on this site. And Oxy's gonna go in, get proactive. He'll sit within the smoke. Wants to try and find a reposition because the Yoru's coming in to pinch him. Vic, unprepared, but Oxy still in position, not for long. Trent takes care of him, and G2 cleanly get a 5v3 in the post.
Yeah, Planter gets out no problem too. There's 3 players bundled up in backside. C9 needs someone to find some openers. That someone is not going to be that. It's all starting to fall apart for Cloud9 as they continue getting stalled. Now the crossfire's coming to play, and as C9 make quick work of this opening pistol.
G2, they've lost a lot of these opening pistol rounds. C9 in that last map won the bonus off of it, started, I think, 5-0 on the map. G2 doing a little bit better here.
Yeah, I do feel like Jaw got this timing, teleporting into backside around the moment Oxy's getting pinged out by the Prowler, getting pulled away from that side. His teammate from backside 2 is rotating over to him. It just allowed G2 to pinch really nicely against C9.
We've seen a lot of teams move away from the Fade, trying out the Teo or the Sova, which has been around on this map for a while, but the Cats are so strong to combine with your side execs, clear everything out, and well, they're going to have to clear a hell of a lot out here. That's 5 players ready to go on this brawl from C9. G2, they're just holding strong for now. They're dealing with this one perfectly. Not a player lost. 5 kills in the feed. 0-7, C9.
Salute C9, they just ran to their deaths. Literally said, go next. Oh, wait a second. Who is that on G2 with the C9 Classic?
Tossing it off the map, I think.
Ooh, I like that. A little sacrifice to the Valorant gods.
I'm built for these rounds, let's go.
Yeah, bro, they've got classics.
Thumbs open.
God's strongest eco fragger.
He's got 2. He does not even top fragging. So you can keep talking the big game after a round like this. Good utility. Reminds you of Icebox with Oxy just getting forced off of those high lines.
He didn't make the economic choices to get him an AWP this round. Instead, it is just going to be the rifle here.
But one too many Starbucks.
Those damn lattes.
And heavy armor too. God, spending all his money on clothes. Well, this drone going over into A isn't going to do a great job of selling the fake, especially with Oxy still finding Valen over there. But that's the typical lurker. Hold on, nice kill from Leaf.
That is a tough one for Oxy to lose out on. And now this B site wide open. Thorns are going to mean a flood retake is nigh on impossible, and Jaw's already arrived. Net, you better get out of there while you still have a chance. Missiles coming in at his feet. He's somehow alive. Sneaks his way out of that one.
Standing ahead.
But can C9 make something of this retake? It seems unlikely to start in the bonus round. It starts to feel like it's falling away from them. Some sort of salvation in Halls. Vic.
Nice
So
TP
good
bait.
in rounds like this.
Wow.
Already on the spike, a spam for the headshot, but Leaf against his former team activates. 3 kills already. Knows exactly where Vic is, and he cannot find the shots in time. That's G2. 3-0 to start.
It was great baiting from G2, taking that fight down long, right? Because from back on sign, that's where Valen is first spotted. Now, that doesn't mean a side hit's coming in. That's usually, you know, your lurker on this side of the map. But there's no way Oxy was ready for Leaf to be pushed all the way onto Pillar to swing off and take that line. He's also the guy finding 2 kills, even once the retake looks like it might swing back somehow to C9. It's a beautiful round now from Leaf there.
And G2 are happy what they've found on the B site. Compared to the T1 comp that has Neon, I think it's actually a lot harder to anchor on B. That the stun does so much to help hold space there and reposition while you're on the site. Unless you have the operator, it's actually pretty difficult to hold on to this site if you're C9.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of teams anchoring more around like back hall, around actual pillar on site. That off angle can be pretty annoying to deal with, but
planted.
Especially when you're against the Vice, you normally want to flood retake into a setup like this. That's a bit more difficult. G2 instead have plenty of time to make their preparations and fortifications on this B site. As finally this retake is beginning, but with the lesser weaponry and the time already bought, G2 are in a great position. Jajimo lines them up, nearly flicks onto the fourth, and puts to bed this anti-eco.
hold on, I thought Jonah P was built for these rounds. Why wasn't he finding any of the kills? G2's entry's not letting him have any fun.
That's tough.
You hate to be in a spot like that, but now's kind of where C9 have to get the ball rolling back themselves. That is rough, what we just witnessed.
Yeah, quick report card check. C9 thus far has 1 kill for every round of the game. Total across the team.
Usually you want to get 5 kills. That's typically
for every round.
For every round
so
you
want
to
like
win.
20 right now.
Yeah, so right now they haven't even done 1 round worth of kills.
Well, Imi's not happy about that.
Right.
Maybe some other reasons too, is he's going to call a timeout, and I think this all comes down to solving the way they play B. This time, they do have money to get Oxy the op though.
That's a big deal, right? Of course, as soon as you can like start fighting with the Jet, even solo down B, that's going to be good. I think the other thing a lot of teams would do, I mean, especially like a team like T1, they would often pair their 2 duelists together to take early fights, and then the Yoru can very quickly teleport away to the other side of the map. So if they wanted to do some more aggro looks down B long even, you could put the Jet and Yoru next to each other, post Jet forward on that line, then TP the Yoru out, but you can do that kind of anywhere you want around the map. It's one of the things that's even, I think, better, I think, about running the Jet next to the Yoru, defensively, primarily, is that it's a little bit more effective to, you know, take those sort of contact fights that you so often want to do as that duo.
This goes here.
G2 have some fans in the crowd, and instead of heading back to the well on B, they're instead gonna look over towards A and work on this brawl in A main.
Yeah, gonna get really invested here. 4 stars across the 2 teams. Look at Valen sending it. His team's not even behind him, but Valen's running forward, trying to get pinged. Really trying to sell presence here.
Well, all that's happening. Oxy has worked his way up through long, but they're not heading back there. Instead, they're setting this to a split.
Yeah, the C's hitting all 3 players, full def in C9, so they have to bundle up in main. They're really concerned about the mid space. Their only real protection is going to be the Cypher camera they've got over on street. So the concern for Cloud9 now would be that pinch coming back into A. That's why the rotate's coming in, so Net's going to cover into their spawn. If G2 can call their way into B, they'd have a great chance, but as it stands, they might be headed to the wrong direction.
This is where C9, like you said, starting to get nervous. Just a lot of pressure in mid. There's a lot of space that they're unaware of.
I like that G2 are regrouping to re-clear A main.
It's going to be a big fight here. Likely decider of the round. Zephyr with a clone ready. Through the util, he fights forward, and the trade is favorable for C9 to start. Stun onto Valen, and Mitch mops it up, leaving only Leaf on the lurk, who's already caught off guard. And C9 back in action here. Lock down A main and win the round because of it.
I really liked how Vic sort of baited out a lot of those shots first, right? He's the guy being seen initially, so if G2 are walking to that space, they see that shoulder peek, it's like, oh, maybe it's just the Aster here. Then there's a clone on the right side, or Yoru swinging on the left. There's a Sova Dart pinging out as well. C9 were very quick to spring that trap.
Nice, guys. They're overthinking it. They're
And through all that, they didn't actually find out about Oxy's operator. I'm sure they have their suspicions and have quite a bit of utility to deal with it.
There's those missiles that they're always sending when G2 want to scale up into this B-long space. That's also an attacking Astra smoke to block off the lines from the ground. Sure, it gives Oxy a way to reposition, but it also threatens that G2 could be pushed up all the way right behind it. That's why actually the Cypher Cam, or the trip, is a little bit useful, because it still denies that quick pop out into the site behind their own star.
Cats going back into mid. It's a very slow round for G2. Oxy's reposted on this angle.
Now a drone over into A main. Again, it's always VALORANT trying to take the first contact and bait it, but unfortunately Zeppa was seen. Maybe it's actually intended because the stack from C9 is actually more towards B. Sova, last round was in the A main space. This time, it's tag teamed ready to pinch and take this fight.
Net tucks away, so Mitch is on an island, but no one's looking at him. Mitch controls the spray, and he's rewarded with a double. And now you have to turn face to Oxy. Has a couple angles to worry about here. The player through street, the two still in long, but a dash popped. In a perfect position for Oxy to go mad. Not time on the re-rack of the bolt, but his team has got his back, and Trent, just not enough HP to try and make that one happen.
Good cover from Net, protecting his op there, getting all the trades down. And I genuinely think Zeppa intentionally got pinged by the drone. Yeah, he might have been trying to cross over, but it did exactly what C9 wanted G2 to do, which was to pivot back into B, do what G2 should have actually done on the last round. Except this time, C9 with the slight adjustment of moving their Sova's position, completely catches G2 off guard. Bro, get off your phone!
Nice, baby.
Guys gotta lock in.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. Didn't mean to yell. You get back on your phone. It's a timeout. It actually really doesn't matter. No, you're totally fine.
It does matter for G2 though, because they've lost 2 rounds in a row now. And I think both of them have just come down to kind of tough calls in the mid round. In that first one, calling back into the A main space, losing the brawl there. Here, coming out unfavorable of the push into street.
Yeah, I'd say C9 have just been one step ahead on those 2 moments. I also think that C9 counter to the rounds they were losing earlier over on the B site. You see Net in a round like that last one finding that little angle, playing around sort of the curvature of that one-way smoke, still being able to trade at his teammate. It's an annoying spot to have to play, and you are a little bit exposed, but he knows exactly how much room he has to work with.
And C9 have some of the best combo ults you could with this comp. Astrowall, Sovalt, Yoru ult, all online. A lot of options you can cook up here. Super strong retakes as well.
Looks like C9 coming out of the timeout do want to do that little B-long setup that Yoru Jet playing together. Expect to see Jet left on her own and then a teleport over. G2 could punish this though by just ripping it into A.
Yeah, G2 have done this A main fight a couple times. They've never hit the site off of it.
This is also the first time they've actually gotten this far forward so quickly, I think. But as I was saying, right, like these rotates come in real swiftly off of the B site because of where Jet has been able to make it down B long. The question is, will this split be able to pay off? Because right now, C9, with those 2 players in backside, they're going to look to throw down some anchor smokes with the Cypher cages and flood on in. Deny any chance for G2 to get a quick plant down.
You want to fight it?
Astrowall from the attack. C9, the 3 players ready to work through. That cage is perfect to flood.
Look at that go!
It's not going to do anything, really. Sovalt now coming in, but G2, they open this round. Past the wall, though. C9 have a bit of an island. But on the other side, that'll allow the plant to come down from G2. That's unless someone has something to say about that one. The ult's used. Spam trying to come through. It's pandemonium on both sides. But G2 call a bit of an armistice, a bit of time to hold towards Art.
Yeah, G2 just have to pause, wait for these ultimates to time on out.
30 seconds
Now they can
left.
reset for the fight if they
pivoting?
want. They have the option. They want to threaten it, so they make a little bit of noise, but it's only 25 seconds left down onto the clock, Mimi.
4 players here. Or 3, that is ready to hold strong. And Vic, he's made Eclipse happen in this position before. A chance to do the same. G2, 10 seconds. That spike needs to come down. Josh trying to do the job, and his teammates, they need to protect. Ult's coming in. C9 holding. And it's a 2 versus 3. Jonah, amid it all, finds a kill. Oxy's arriving very late, but he finds the shot true.
Mark 2.
A 1v2. Jonah in an off angle, but he swings straight into the operator.
Finally, Oxy has a chance to play around out. And he locks it up for C9. I mean, that stall was beautiful. You could see it unfolding. G2 had good positioning on the map, but C9 didn't give any early fights over. They throw down a combination piece of both those Cypher cages initially to keep G2 slowed down, and then the Astrowall comboed with the Yoru ult. G2 just ran themselves out of the clock.
And at the most basic macro level, The last 2 rounds, Oxy has been able to walk up almost at the beginning of the round, deep into B main, full contain that space.
That's what you...
Yes, move, you fuck.
And allow his team to basically 4-stack heavy on the A side of the map and play these really quick floods.
Looks like G2 want to stop that from happening. Not necessarily even aware of that walk down the previous round, but opening up stronger into B. And even when they have opened here, Oxy has never found an early kill with the off. He's always fallen back. He found 1 backside. That's it previously.
Here.
Calls in that quick Yoru teleport.
Oxy popping the blades. Nearly found a piece of Jonah. Giacomo, okay, just within the flashes, the cage is everything. Oxy, that's only 1 from him. You would have thought he might have found that adjustment. G2 get the plant down. And Giacomo towards spawn. Pushing into them. Vic, he was prepared, he was ready, but it wasn't enough when you're facing the dog. 3v2. What? Going for more! 20 health on that kill. And Trent ends it with a sheriff shot. G2, what a way to fire back.
We're just winning half buys like that, I guess. Giacomo just went flying into backside. I think that was a net anchoring from C9. I have no idea what happened to him. But him falling and Jaw getting to pinch back in. Oh, he just flashed himself in through Net's own Cypher cage. And then even on 20 HP, he's winning these fights back spawn. C9 can't be letting that happen.
They're going back to it, this time with a Yoru ult.
This time Oxy's playing up. He wants the early pick.
But he already takes 1 shot. Has to get away, but he still has his dash. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Has to dash all the way back. Missiles at the feet of Net. Giacomo out into the halls again. But the operator, it's down 2. Very good from Trent and Jonah to hold. That's a tripwire kill! A trip kill in the midst of a round like this. That grants Net a Thorns kill! What the hell is going on?
It's just a utility fiesta on the B bomb site. Cloud9 and Mitch now with the operator in hand has crept back into the site. The drone is going to see him, but not see that he clicked over into the op. Now, though, the stall is being working down. Mitch has to be able to find an opener. G2 are just going to be able to win out on time, and they will. Vic is here. Maybe even looking for a half stick. The spam coming in. Hold on. No, not again. Not again. The missiles to pull him away. And now another chance. Smoke in 3 seconds. He'll have just enough time to go for it if he needs. Not if he gets pushed, though. No, he's going down. Trent wins the round for G2 after all that.
A trip kill and a Thorns kill in the same round. I've never seen that before.
And people complain about Teo? Like, I'm kidding, I swear. Oh my word, I mean.
Cypher Trip is just way too powerful. I thought they said abilities don't kill.
You're killing me, Mimi. You're killing me. Glad to see Josh is having as much fun as we are. Yeah. Completely somber out there.
Well, Cloud9, unfortunately, a bit worse for wear this round. Economy is broken, and they stacked towards A.
And Net not even gonna overcommit to that fight. I'm curious, because Vic's got a Bulldog. He's gonna be able to do anything over on this side of the map. Because right now you can sort of see there's a bit of a mid walk up from Cloud9 right now, seeing if they can maybe catch this rotator working back through mid. Shots aren't gonna quite be there though.
Leave spots out 1.
Look at A main too. We're all the way up from Vic. Oh, no one is ready for him, and he has the Bulldog, but he can't get, wow. C9 have had 3 chances, they just narrowly missed.
Yeah, G2 is looking, and the opportunity slips by. 50 seconds, a gap in the smoke. That was another chance, but Net can't find it either. Mitch out on the site. Oh my god! That's a collateral on the Sheriff, but doesn't matter. Maybe not. G2 have traded this even in a 2v2, but Oxy still has a Sheriff in hands! And you know he's good for it. Valen's low. 1v2. A peek onto Oxy, but Oxy! He is so good for it! An eco round win for C9.
These rounds are just crazy. I mean, what is Mitch on that he's getting 2 kills there.
Oh, he didn't see either of them. Just running through the smoke. Jonah perfectly walks into the bullet.
And then Oxy swinging back for the
Let's go,
second
baby.
fight there too. Man.
Cutting through.
Another fight for A main. Oxy, within his own cloud burst, is dealt with, but Mitch, again, finding his impact. Trades are through, and G2, this time successful. There's still 1 player left, though. That's Net. And a smoke to help him hold.
G2 are going to freeze the round because somehow Leaf has made it past the Cypher camera in Street, and they know that because the whole time Net was fighting, he couldn't click into the camera. Now this position is unexpected, and it's possible Leaf even heard the rotate in through spawn.
This is a
He has no
perfect
idea.
call.
He has no idea.
Leaf has made it into B scot-free.
So let's think about the post plant then, because VALORANT's going to have the ultimate. Trent is going to plant the spike, which then gives him his own Taeho ulti. On top of the missiles, on top of a drone in post plant, G2 have beautiful utility to just stall this out permanently. You're even going to have Sucks on the bomb from the Astra.
And while you're waiting for all of that, Leaf is just going to be there to fight and buy time.
Blocking vision.
The util players fall back to long.
Leaf has a flash setup on these players coming out from CT. So as soon as the smoke goes down, I think he can
They're
use that to
saving.
get the ping. He doesn't see anything. They're not playing the round. And it makes sense. You think about it, right? 2 players in the next round would not have been able to buy guns. So they need to keep these 2 online. Oxy will have enough for an operator. That's going to be C9's hope of keeping things within 2 rounds going into the second half.
What a timing for Leaf to take.
And that's
Sneaks past the camera.
Yes. It's so good too, because you probably don't go for a timing like that unless you know that the Cypher is in the midst of a
Yes.
fight. He doesn't have the moment to check the cam. That's the weakness of doing a cam in Street as opposed to just a regular old tripwire.
G2 up 7-4 now.
Uh-oh, Mimi, I'm seeing 2 nice ultimates from Cloud9. Yoru Sova ult. That is very commonly good for a kill. Use that Yoru ult to body block and set up for the Sova to ping twice.
Trent still has Armageddon, so getting into a post plant would be big. Re-clear into mid for C9.
It's a very early drone out of Mitch.
I think they did that off the Vi's flash. A cat as well, but G2 aren't able to actually get inroads towards the street.
Not sure what that wall did to Jaw. Jaw certainly got the upper hand. Here we go, tag team setup. The 2 duelists of C9. Only Zeppa seen so far, and that's going to buy time for Oxy to creep on forward. C9 want to take this fight in main.
You cannot have Zeppa die here. He has the Yoru ult. They might just use it early.
Oh, and the Sova ult positioning is really nice here.
He spots out 1. Mitch pops the ultimate. How many can he
it's a
tag
double.
here? I think that's a double to start. How much more? Oxy's down, and the Sova ult doesn't get a kill. Zeppa's out of the ult, straight to his death. And it's a cataclysmic round for Cloud9.
On paper, that was beautiful, and now the tripwire. Mitch is going to be able to punish. This art fight could be everything. Great
Hello.
timing seized by Cloud9. 2-on-3 now.
Face your
And
fear.
guns picked up, but they're ulted off. No noise. Doesn't
2-on-2.
matter for Mitch,
Down A.
as Valen is very low, but it's a plant for backside.
Spike planted.
1 cage on net.
Mitch has some shocks here, too.
Had
Valen
to
is
use
so
the cage,
low.
though. Trent's already working a reroute. Missiles in 10 seconds. Another tap. There's the kill for Trent. But down goes Valen. Mitch trying to win this one out, and the damage is good. But Trent's running for the hills. He'll tuck, hide. The shock dart. Could it do it? Not quite. Trent again, elusive in this round. The shocks again. Could this be the one? Not again. Mitch holding, trying to get this one halfway, and he gets the kill. The time,
He has
it's
it.
close.
He's got it.
Mitch down to the wire, and he's done it. C9 rally back to 5-7 off of a beautiful clutch from their leader.
That is crazy. I mean, Mitch, so close with the ult, so close with both shock darts. It's his rifle that gets the job done in the end. Topping the charge with the Red Bull clutch. And keeping it competitive. The second half is going to be close.
We're into the final half of the regular season for two of our top teams in Americas. C9 and G2, they're both vying for the #1 seed out of this group. And as a reminder, that means they would be just a match away in playoffs from qualifying to Toronto.
Yeah, everyone stop what you're doing. Look at the bottom of the screen right now. It's very simple. G2 win, they're our #1 seed. No ifs, ands, or buts. But because C9 lost the map, even if they win this series, even if they win this game, they still require MIBR dropping a map to Furia.
Dropping the game, that is.
Yeah.
If MIBR just drop a map, then it's G2 who takes that bye.
Exactly.
MIBR, their fate would stay in their own hands.
But
all they
that's
have to
the
do
thing.
is stomp Furia.
That's the thing. The third and fourth are pretty unlikely if you consider the state of the league right now. MIBR are looking quite hot, so...
And Furia is winless.
Exactly. So MIBR are C9's biggest fans heading into the second half.
G2, they want to make it simple, though. Win this one out, get the bye, make it to Toronto, and try and win the league again.
Yeah, that'd be great for G2.
Just a dream.
If only C9 weren't putting up a fight.
If only they had gotten this done in 2, but they've got a real close opponent here in C9. Well, they've got themselves the A site.
C9 have played very active in their post plants ever since that second map of Haven. Doesn't look to be slowing down anytime soon. Oxy getting inside the smoke.
Smoke fades. Oxy and Zeppa. The two-man team. A drone. Spot symbol. Charging off. Good night. What an adjustment from Zeppa. He's going to go for more. Spam through. He'll have to TP away. And now 2 more players ready to overwhelm him. Net.
Hold on, Net's on the wrap. Net finds the first, and now the players turn around. G2 still up.
But there's still players tucked on this side, and no one's looking at Mitch. But the trades from G2 again. Every player routed. Every member dealt with. And Vic down to 13 health. He's gone too. G2. 8th round, just in the nick of time.
Good responses from G2. It felt like C9 got like 3 kills that round where the G2 guy was looking the complete opposite direction. But every time that happened, G2 had a second, third player ready to trade them out. That's what kept it together for G2, the fundamentals. Even in that 2-on-1 there at the end.
G2, 8th round.
Vic, swing there, brother. Good. What do you mean?
Well, C9 not going to be going for a force like we saw G2 do.
They've got a couple more rounds to play with than G2 did.
I do like, though, on a eco like this, C9 trying to work the map a little bit, see where that Vise utility is going to be defaulting, try and pick up on the info G2 are giving you. And what have they learned so far? Well, not much of a fight down into B, but that Fade is prowling out in Art. Seems like pretty likely G2 are leaning towards the A side of the map. C9 are going to log that away from future use.
Judgment with the Marshall. Clean opener. He
Wow.
won't get greedy.
Look at the Flash and Haunt combo there, pinging 3 players. No one can shoot it. So full info gain for G2. Just realizing that Net is the unseen player, and doesn't look like Trent is going to be fooled by that.
Nah, he's ready for it.
Yeah, he knew, because it's like, wait a second, Cypher wasn't seen A main. I've got a guy over in Street that hasn't seen anything. This guy has to be coming into me, or he's baiting in spawn. And yeah, he wasn't baiting in spawn. He's dead on the floor in Art.
Two players left for C9, and
okay.
okay. I mean, a little dramatic with the spam through the smoke. That's 9 rounds to G2's name, though.
If I'm up there, I've never muted so quickly. Just spamming that Marshall. Do want to see what the approach is for C9 here. You know, because last round their info tells them that it's the active scouting utility of a Fade, of a Tejo playing towards Art. So maybe there's opportunities for solo lurkers to find timings in mid. Because where's the Vise utility at?
Yo, this guy has max ammo glitch on his Marshall. What is this?
Seemed that way. So G2, they're going to fight for space in A main. Their defense is going to be a lot less reliant on these forward walk-ups on B, whereas C9 was fighting for both extremities pretty much every round. They can fall back and play up that Vice util a lot more often.
I think what C9 want to be able to threaten is A, for sending this clone down to be able to break the wall, but it gets spammed away. Nicely done. I believe that was actually Trent shooting that one from back CT, so the Vise wall is still intact. And that sort of removes the threat of C9 pop execing into B from behind a smoke. Makes this A finish all the more likely.
And look at the forward lines. Jajimo walked up A main. Jonah P walked up in Art. Oh, Jonah, they're very close to him. And he's not long for this world. Let's see if Joe can get anything. Maybe a shot with the Marshall, not today. C9's duelists get entry into A.
Yeah, you turned on the infinite ammo glitch. You forgot to turn on the actual aim assist. Not going to be too much use for him on that one. C9 clearing away things pretty calmly in this round, apart from Valen slipping on through.
Seemingly always going to get one with the Stinger. He has a gun. And honestly, some damage wouldn't hurt.
Look at all the
angles.
angles. All the angles C9 have in the post.
Well, they know where he is. If he had gotten that kill on Mitch, maybe you start to believe, but no. C9, they'll lock this one up and lower that gap down to 3.
Mitch is having a great game. This guy is topping the charts for Cloud9 at the moment.
And the last 2 maps has been calling really well, too. He's that guy that was pretty controversial for C9 to bring back, obviously. Played well at the Red Bull Homeground qualifier when he was just a substitute for the roster and was solid for them years ago. Back when Leaf was on the team.
Yeah, back when Net was on the guard, which was G2. And then, yeah, they did the whole merry-go-round siege changing between these two teams. Let's all come together. That's a Yor ult into A.
But he has a TP ready to go back into B. So
Yeah.
he pressures A, and now he's going to clear out the B site. And he's going to spot out the operator.
Hello. Peekaboo.
A flash. Jaw is forced to use his TP. That's very nice to fake out with the Yor ult there.
Yeah, and seeing there's no Vise utility, so C9 can get quickly into this site. G2 ready to flood.
That they are. Haunt, flash, all going in. That's a scan, but no kill. Plant committed. G2 were considering the flood, but can't go for it. Instead, just have to play kind of a set retake now. Smoke still up in their face.
It's out, scouting to see a couple. Now the pin, now we're going back into sight. G2 trading out evenly to start things off, but just like that, it's all Trent, all on his own. Spike not planted for C9.
He has the ultimate, though. And in the 1v2, that could be big. No, there's a gap. Vic, though, just pushing, running, and winning amid the artillery. That is impressive out of C9's rookie.
Not just to win that round there, but, you know, using the Oral, baiting out the Tejo from the other side. I like that pathing like you were saying, because as soon as that Yoru is ulting into A, well, maybe people start shifting their feet a little bit, start preempting that rotate.
I love
that.
that.
TP is great.
Another thing from that round is Mitch immediately popping the Sovault as the Flood is coming in and just sending the pulses in. Even though he only got 1 kill, he was putting so much pressure on those retaking players.
Dude, his whole team on 8 kills, he's up on 17.
Doing good for himself. G2 on an eco here.
Again, C9 just trying to show a little bit of presence into A lobby, rotate back out of that space. And with G2 playing sort of 4 players into mid, their idea is to be able to pretty quickly react to what C9 are doing. They're not going to let C9 get the plant down without G2 putting up a fight this time around.
Cutting through.
I'm looking at is C9's entry here. A lot of times you'll see Jet sort of dash up and over, combo with the teleport into backside, but not going to be an option this time, I don't think.
Clone gets broken this time. Double dive in. G2 pushing through. Jaw finds it with the classic, and Zeppa, he's alone, walled off from the rest of the team. And C9, for what could have been a beautiful double dive play, instead it's all going so wrong. Ping pong, they swing in and start to fall. Mitch, he's been electric this game, and Vic as well, there to help. They bailed their team out of this, but Trent still potent in a 1v2.
Seriously, deep breath for Cloud9. Back with the advantage. Now these players are a bit low. Single shot to the head is a kill. Just trying to bait out, and now the position is known, even with 20 seconds. Trent shouldn't be able to get out of this choke point. He's gonna have to take the timing on the next tap. Are you kidding? Are you joking?
It's just a stinger.
He's
Vic
waiting for it to stick.
The plant, the
Oh
swing, the stinger! Trent! Oh my! How has he pulled that round out of absolutely nowhere?
That is just ridiculous. For Trent to catch a break in that situation, a Red Bull clutch.
The stinger has 20 bullets. He is out of ammo in half a second. How does he get a spam kill?
Unreal. And Vic just going for the stick there. With so little time, it's so hard to play that round.
And just a smile on his face after winning that Red Bull clutch.
I honestly, I can't believe it. I can't remember the last time G2 caught a break on this map in a late round.
Yeah.
Like even the last round of the half, Trent's in that 1v1 and he ends up falling. Like this map has been so brutal for them in the one-on-ones, the two-on-ones, all those moments. But that might have been what pushes G2 over the edge to a first place finish in the group. Checking out the money right now, C9 could buy 3 rifles if they wanted to, but it's a bit grim. Oxy's one-off knives, so it might not be the worst purchase. I could see a world where C9 choose to force up into this. And looking at the last few seconds here, it seems like that's going to be the case. My biggest concern for them, I think, is they're sort of banking the entire series. They're banking their placement in the group stage on this round because they're forcing up, they're not going to have money next round, and G2 have some killer ultimates they're going to be able to tap into. C9 are facing against brutal odds this time.
Keep up.
It all comes down to this round for Cloud9. G2, a Yoru ult to work with. And the Vise this time again set up towards B.
And look at the positioning of Leaf too, right? If he thinks it's going to be a hit, he can pop that ultimate and just immediately stall out what C9 are trying to do. The only thing is Oxy's knives would still be online.
Visewall wasn't here this round. Just the Thorns. And the Thorns, they'll try and stall out. Oxy into backhall. Can he find a fight here? Valen around the corner. He was stunned! And he still gets that kill.
Oh my, look at C9 leaving. They can't even fight the map.
It's the exact ult you were talking about. Leaf pops it. They only have pistols. Oxy dies. And now they're in a straight up 4v5.
4v5, but it's only 3 rifles. That has a stinger. And again, Jogamo, if he wants to, can pop this ulti. The positions that G2 also have, sort of entrenched backside, very annoying. Playing on the bottom of pillar, playing in backside, can fight off each other nicely. And now that there's not a Jet to dash smoke, sort of clear both those angles as she goes in,
30 seconds
C9
left.
are going to have to be perfect on the approach.
It's into Leaf and Valen. Dart catches onto him. That's a very good start. And VALORANT amid the pull is taken down as well.
One
it's
Dart.
Even 3v3, but that's the ultimate use. Jaw spots out too. Where's that third player? Hiding in back hall. It's perfect info for G2. Can they win it still? Vic, that's a very good kill to find a second from C9. They're making something of this round. Somehow pull it off in the 3v3. Yoru won't be damned.
C9 had no business winning that one. But really, it was just Mitch's Dart, I think, that ruined this round. Not sure if Leaf couldn't see it or what actually happened, but Dart goes unbroken. He's taken down. And then everyone can swing. 180 degrees, deal with Vic, no problem.
He used his own Vise Flash up high behind him, so I think he had to turn to look away from that. And as he was turning back, he almost unintentionally flashed Dart combo. He didn't get blinded, but he had to turn for just long enough to not break it.
That is... I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. That's levels of tragedy.
It's the tiniest things in VALORANT, though. G2 still have a lead by 2.
Yeah, but now they're the ones without a buy in this round. That's going to start slipping. Zeppa's one away from the ultimate. Like, the fact that C9 only really used an Astro Wall a round ago means that now they're the ones that are starting to cycle up into some of these ultimates. And what really shocks me is that C9 have managed to win now 3 out of the last 4 without really doing anything in mid. Like, they've just done a lot of like B to A, back and forth, execing into the B site, and haven't really had to do any of the slower macro rounds that G2 were trying to run with the pinches into art and all of these things.
This one could just be a split towards A. 2 players posted in mid. 3 ready to take the fight A main. But what is C9 cooking? All 5 members of their team are primed in middle.
Oxy could be walking into a pretty brutal trap. But C9 are going completely quiet into the space. I think Zeppa used a flash in main. There's some stars, that was about it.
Yeah, G2 call away from their stack. Instead, they're all going to group towards A, which is still a great call. But they won't be rewarded for the play towards mid.
Yeah, now that re-clear into A main, but spotting nothing because C9 have done nothing. So far, C9 have really good info, though, because the camera in mid and Oxy there says there was no fight into that space. They've just seen 3 players of G2 fight into A and put this drone down. So they show 1 player, the Yoru. That's it. And now C9 are going to re-hit with the expectation that G2 have rotated away.
And they have, but there's still players close by.
Wow, the Prowler through art gives G2 false info as well. They might feel even safer over towards A now.
With that jet smoke spotted, though, that's going to be the cue to rotate back towards A. And this is very slow. A C's used in main from G2. This fake still being sold on B, but G2 is not biting on it. In the corner, Jonah stunned. I don't think the Yoru saw him. There's missiles at his feet. That's 1. The classic for 2. Jonah does well. But can the team win the round off of
20 seconds left, and Arsova is lurking through B. The spike is still back in main. C9 are winning the fights, but they still got to get that spike down.
Oxy, that's the kill he needed. The spike somehow fords the river.
10 seconds left.
And Valen, from what really could have been a G2 round, is now in a 1v3. Could he make something of this? The first kill already taken. A tap on the spike. Darts going in. An Astral use. He believes in this clutch.
Okay.
He swings for the fight, but Zeppa's holding it.
At the risk of sounding mean, I believe that round was a good example of failing upwards from Cloud9. That was crazy. Like, going into this A site, 2 players die. Their Sova's lurking into A. But then this fight back into spawn, right? Oxy and Zeppa choosing to get active. It salvages what was almost a disaster.
Let's go, hey, that's all you.
Let's go, baby.
If they lose that fight to the player rotating into Arc, they just lose the round.
Exactly.
Spike's on the floor.
Uh-huh.
But 2 rounds now where it comes down to a second of difference, and C9 comes out the better of it.
And C9's pivot out of the timeouts has been these 3-2 openers, right? Oxy moving with net to get into street. Early cam to see the Vise jump spotting down on B. And actually, even Vic is going to be joining the party. C9 want to play a slow macro round. And I think that's going to suit them. The Prowler didn't see Vic.
Jonah on the jiggle. Vic holding for it. Can he dodge the haunt? No. Caught by it.
Just half a second off. Less than that. And
Where did Leaf get that kill?
be long?
Just swings into it and finds an opener here. Trent was way far up on A main. He'll be shoot away.
Yeah, by the way, Spike still very much back in spawn. So while Oxy's doing walkabouts in mid, C9 have to recover that. And yet if C9 pinch into A, they could, first of all, get onto the site. Second, if they kill Jonah P, they take a huge ultimate out of the retake equation.
These missiles could be perfect. That they are. What a stall. 30 seconds. A stun going in as well. C9 have to get a move on. Spike still not even making it onto the site. 20 seconds. A flash ready to go. G2. It's Operation Stop the Spike for the end round. Is the haunt. It's just perfect. Judgment for a kill, but the plant goes down successfully. But it's still a 5v3. And G2 are patient. They're spamming away at Vic.
Waiting on Leaf to lurk into Art, but he takes those shots. Now C9's attention turns.
But that'll let his teammates out onto the site. They've killed the anchor. And now it's only a game about Art. Spam through the smoke for 2. Net! Has he done that? C9, are they pulling this back? Surely not. Surely Mitch can't pull this one off. The stick to half. The shorty in hand, a jump around the corner, but G2 lock up the round and make their way to 11.
Nearly got away with them with the spam kills through the smoke. But that was an excellent hold coming through from Trent and Jonah P. The ultimate with the sun just completely stonewalled that exec.
And that's the opener.
I even forgot about the hunt too, leading to a kill. Kind of just a util diff out of Jonah P that round, I'm gonna be honest.
C9 full buying into this round. Money's gonna be rough if they lose it.
We haven't seen a lot of Vi setups on A from G2. Pivoting here with that wall in Art. Let's see what C9 choose to do if they want to accelerate into the Thorns or move back into net.
Cutting through.
They might just go. Thorns finally used, and that will stall the exec.
I mean, 20 seconds into the round, we're getting double Thorns. I'm pretty happy if I'm C9, but again, the main thing is seeing that the passive info of the Vise is on A.
Hunter's Fury, there's still a TP for Zeppa. He's
We
here.
TP'd with that?
Yes, arrives on the site. Net for a kill onto Jojimo off the lurk, but they're sticking to their guns, holding strong in A, and Trent, 1 HP.
Beautiful.
Net on the other side with the follow-up, but the Flood is here, a little quicker than Vic may have expected. Still, C9 have established a good post flank.
Wait, they're stuck behind the wall. They can tap.
They can, and C9, they're gonna feel rushed to make this fight happen, and updraft, forward, Valen, too many angles. C9 win it.
Net with 4 on the round. I can sort of see it unfolding. C9 didn't want to immediately go for the exec. First, they wanted to bait out the utility. But then because they see Vise on A side, it opens up the opportunity to lurk into mid. Net finding that timing, then being there to play off his teammate, fighting into Art.
Let's go, bro.
And be the hype man for the squad.
And we talked about the money for C9. It's G2 instead, who is destitute this round.
I'll find them.
C9 can close this out. We're looking at a tie game.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of ecos in this series, but this time only one stinger, only one share for G2. Really trying to make sure they can have heavy armor going into round 23.
My ult's ready.
2 ults now for Cloud9.
Over the wall they go. And goodbye to the Vise.
Look at Oxy's pathing too, up into heaven, coming back with the, oh my word!
He's just spamming every smoke. No respect left in the tank for Oxy. There's a shorty, but it won't matter. Okay, Oxy. The double duelist makes some noise, and this game is tied.
Remember, a win here for C9 keeps them in the race. The top Omega group in first, reliant on that series between MIBR and Furia. G2 winning, that's 5-0, that's them guaranteeing the bye. But it's all gonna come down to these next 2 rounds.
This is where you can't help but think about that final back in Bangkok. Had a close
No,
game on
don't say
Pearl.
it, Mimi.
Made it almost all the way back. Lost out. And
Hold
dropped
on.
their trophy.
Hold on, Jogma bought an operator. He's up on pillar, just gonna break the drone. And now, Zeppa coming in will scout him out. You gotta teleport out of this. You surely can't stick around and fight that. That would be crazy.
He's gone indeed. And so too is any hope of G2 controlling this B site. Look how deep C9 already is on this post plant.
They want to fight forward because G2 have Yoru, Taeho, and Vizolt on the retake. This lurk in mid. Ned is gonna find Leaf, and that disrupts everything from G2.
G2 are still going in with the ultimates. Jojimo, Yoru ult spots out one. Armageddon is being used, but no one is going to get caught in that whatsoever. The C's, no audio. That'll get one kill for Jaws. Shona trades back as well. But look at the map. C9 is everywhere.
C9 are lurking back in spawn in street. Mitch has to find some kills. He's been so good for C9 today, but he falls. And now, G2 an option to get back onto the spike. Vic doesn't have the utility left anymore. It's being stuck on through. Vic in a 1-on-3 takes the first, but the stick goes on in. G2 have the round. G2 are one away.
What a recovery in that round for G2. And C9, you can't help but feel like that one slipped just out of their hands. They had control of it. They had the post plant, and they wanted to play off site. But so many of their players end up too far forward and just flood in one at a time, facing into 2v1s.
They got the opening pick. It's a 5-on-4, but they played the round as if it was a 3v4, as if they were the one down numbers because of all those lurks. And G2 still have 3 monster retake ultimates heading into the final round of the regulation.
Jonah's been caught on this angle before.
He saw foot.
Sees in, doesn't catch on to anyone.
He just wants players to move back into Jaw on double doors. That's where our ops posted.
Cutting through.
Jaw sets up his second final teleport of the round.
They're heading towards him. Jojimo. Do they give him a chance? Do they give him an opportunity?
Net's been such a problem for G2 in this game. His lurks, blown up rounds.
But he's always picked his timings right. His team applying pressure towards A. Still, he's holding position. As his team gets stalled out, no one wants to be the first to make a mistake. It's a standoff in A. One player holding it main. Jojimo falls off the angle, and now it's about the anchors. It's about G2 holding this site and locking it down. Finally, the payoff. It's Net to die, and it's C9 an inch away. So close to overtime.
There's no time, Mimi.
20 seconds, the op again. Jojimo, he's ringing true. And the bell, it's ringing for Vic. The one to end it. They couldn't do it back in Bangkok on this map, but this time, in a close affair, they keep their streak. G2 undefeated in Americas, and the first seed from their group.
G2 staying strong here. And look, it was entertaining. Those maps, back and forth, stomps 1 and 2. But Pearl was right down to the wire.
They're one game away from Toronto now. For Jonah P, one of the Canadian players in this league, I'm sure it would mean a lot to make it to that event, to try and redeem themselves for the loss in Masters 1.
I'm just thinking about all those moments where G2 were able to show up in that final map.
C9, they were this close to taking down America's best team. And you know they're going to be a beast in the playoffs. But today, it's G2 making it through again.
Gotta shout out what Trent was able to do on that final map. I mean, he was shooting out there, so clutch in those late round moments as well, getting the breaks that G2 have been looking for consistently. That was the difference maker in this one. Trent